Board members, we are now live.
Good evening and welcome to the Montgomery County Historic Preservation Commission meeting of October 23, 2024. My name is Bob Sutton. I'm the chair, and I would like to begin by having commission members introduce themselves and staff as well, starting on my left.
Jeffrey Haynes.
Karen Burdett.
Cristina Arado.
Zara Nasser.
Dan Bruckert, Historic Preservation Staff.
Laura DiPasquale, Historic Preservation Staff.
Rebecca Ballo, Historic Preservation Staff.
Thank you. I would like to sort of change the, I'm sorry.
Serena Bollinger, Historic Preservation Staff.
Oh, thank you. I'd like to change the order a little bit from the agenda. I'd like to start off with number 2 as number 1, historic area work permits, and have the work permits been duly advertised.
Yes, Chair Sutton, they were advertised in the, they were advertised in the October 9th edition of the Washington Times.
Thank you. If anyone is here to speak in opposition or in favor of any of these projects, and you've not given your name to the staff, we'd appreciate if you did that. And we will start with item number, it's now 1A at 3939 Washington Street, Kensington, 1B at 5918 Cedar Parkway, Chevy Chase, 1C at 18400 Muncaster Road, Durwood, and 1D at 4A Oxford Street, Chevy Chase.
Mr. Chair, hearing no objections, I move that we approve the following historic area work permits in accordance with staff reports based upon the record before us, in consideration of the recommendations of the local advisory panels and including the conditions recommended by staff. HOP number 1080544 at 3939 Washington Street, Kensington. HOP number 1088225 at 5918 Cedar Parkway, Chevy Chase. HOP number 1088518 at 18400 Muncaster Road, Durwood. HOP number 1088689 at 4A Oxford Street, Chevy Chase.
Is there a second?
Commissioner Haynes, I second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain? Let the record show that all five have voted in favor of the historic area work permits. The next item on our agenda will be item number 4 on your agenda, which is now item number 2, which are tax credit technical updates. Is there a staff report?
Just a brief explanation, Chair Sutton. After the HPC approved batch 8 of the tax credits, staff identified a couple of technical errors in processing some of the applications, and we've corrected those and request that the HPC approve them, and we will transmit those corrections to the Department of Finance. To be more specific, one property was identified twice in the, there were 2 separate applications for the property. 2 of them had work that was identified as ineligible that actually we determined to be eligible, and then one additional application provided additional information in the intervening time, and we decided to bring that forward. These corrections lower the amount of eligible expenses from $3,094,794.68 to $3,059,295.99. And a full accounting of the corrected record was attached to the memo distributed to the commissioners.
Thank you. Do I have a motion for this?
This is Commissioner Burdett. I make a motion that we approve the historic preservation tax credit applications for calendar year 2023 with the technical update, and that these tax credits be forwarded to the Department of Finance. Thank you.
Is there a second?
This is Commissioner Haynes, I'll second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain? Thank you. This has been unanimously approved as well. Now, we will go to item 1, which is now item 3, which is public hearing and work session listing to the locational atlas and index of historic sites to the master plan for historic preservation amendment. Is there a staff report? Oh, I'm sorry, this particular project is A, timber lawn. Is there a staff report?
There is. Serena Bolger for the record. Can everyone see the presentation on their screens?
Yes.
For the purpose of tonight's public hearing and work session, is to determine whether Timberlawn meets designation criteria for listing in the Locational Atlas and Index of Historic Sites and Master Plan for Historic Preservation. Timberlawn, designed in 1900 by master architect Arthur Heaton, was the home of Eunice Kennedy Shriver and Sergeant Shriver and the site of Camp Shriver, which inspired the foundation of the Special Olympics. Overall, staff found that the property meets the designation criteria and requests that the HPC takes the following actions. 1, finds that the house meets the designation criteria. 2, recommends that the planning board lists the property to the locational atlas. And 3, recommends that the county council list the property in the master plan for historic preservation. Resources listed to the master plan must satisfy historical and cultural significance or architectural and design significance. The designation process includes hearings at the Historic Preservation Commission, Planning Board, and County Council, who ultimately decides whether a resource is listed. The property was previously listed and removed from the locational atlas, but the significance of Eunice Kennedy Shriver, Camp Shriver, and attribution of the house to master architect Arthur B. Heaton failed to be fully considered. In 2022, the current property owners approached the historic preservation staff and requested designation. Timberlawn is located at 5700 Sugarbush Lane, approximately 3 miles southwest of the intersection of downtown Rockville, off Edson Lane, and adjacent to Rockville Pike. The 1.38-acre parcel is a result of the 1979 subdivision of the approximately 280-acre estate historically associated with the home. Master architect Arthur Heaton designed a Georgian revival-influenced house with shingle-style elements. The 2.5-story side gable house featured mirrored, flanking, 2-story front gable projections on the north and south elevations, gable and shed dormers, and later additions by Heaton. President Kennedy appointed Sergeant Shriver the inaugural director of the Peace Corps. The Shrivers relocated to D.C. and ultimately moved to Timberlawn in 1961. Eunice Shriver, whose eldest sister was born with intellectual disabilities, was a lifelong advocate for disability rights and revolutionized physical recreation for individuals with intellectual disabilities while living at Timberlawn. On September 22, 1962, Shriver published Hope for Retarded Children in the Saturday Evening Post that publicly acknowledged her sister's intellectual disabilities and shared her family's experiences. Advocates from the field and historians recognize this letter as a pivotal moment that lessened the stigma surrounding intellectual disabilities. It is reported that in the spring of 1962, a parent mentioned to Eunice Shriver that there were no camps open to her child with intellectual disabilities. Within months, Eunice Shriver developed a program of events at her home, which provided children with the opportunity to try all sorts of activities on the Timberlawn grounds, including swimming, running, long and high jump, and hiking. The structure of the camp was replicated and shared. In 1963, there were 11 camps like Camp Shriver. By 1969, there were 32 for over 10,000 children. Eunice Shriver hosted Camp Shriver at Timberlawn annually from 1962 to 1967. Inspired by the success of Camp Shriver at Timberlawn, Eunice Shriver envisioned a national event, that showcased the athletic talents of individuals with intellectual disabilities. That opportunity arose when the Chicago Park District requested additional funding from the Kennedy Foundation to hold a track event for at least 500 regional participants in 1968. Eunice Shriver met with the Chicago Park District, which resulted in a Kennedy Foundation grant of $25,000 for the regional event. But she quickly expanded the scope to a national Olympic-styled event at Soldier Field in Chicago. At the Games, Shriver announced a Special Olympics training program and the continuation of the Special Olympics in the future. Timberlawn meets 4 designation criteria as listed in Chapter 24A of the Montgomery County Code and retains historic integrity to express its period of significance. Staff recommends an environmental setting that incorporates the entire parcel, 1.38 acres, containing the home known as Timberlawn at 5700 Sugarbush Lane. Overall, staff found that the property meets the designation criteria and requests that the HPC takes the following actions. 1, finds that the house meets the designation criteria. 2, recommends that the planning board lists the property to the locational atlas. And 3, recommends that the county council lists the property in the master plan for historic preservation. After this hearing, there will be hearings at the planning board and county council. That's the end of our presentation.
Are there any questions for staff? Commissioner Radu?
This is Commissioner Rado. Do you mind putting the slide back with the 4 criteria? And I have a question regarding the first one under number 2. It embodies the distinctive characteristics of a type period and method of construction. I mean, is that any house from that period would embody this, or do you think in Montgomery County are there other houses that are not listed on the atlas or any other, or on the National Register or anywhere else that are as significant in terms of architecture? I'm not asking about the other criteria.
I must admit, I'm not the best person to ask about the volume of other properties in this category, but certainly this property looked at individually as a representation of Georgian architecture is a really good example of a gentleman's farm estate that would have been constructed in the time for a man who was had turned this into his home estate, where he was hosting people, like dignitaries and people within his social circle. And it is a really good example of a Georgian-style home with shingle stylings. So if you look at the earliest photographs, and in the report, there should have been some historic images that showed what the original windows would have looked like, and the layout of the dormers, the gables, the front and the rear, and the bay windows, the orioles. All of these would have been examples of represent this Georgian style, which the house is a very good example of, and then the shingle styling, which is apparent from the detail and the trim.
Okay, thank you.
I can add to that, just Rebecca Ballo for the record. This house, in terms of its distinctive architectural characteristics, you should think of it in the same category as Wild Acres or Ishpeming, which is the house at 9 Chevy Chase Circle. These sort of higher style houses, even though this one was for a country retreat, is in a particular architectural class of its own, with which the report went into in a fairly significant level of detail. So it is not typically characteristic of the homes that you would see in Chevy Chase, within the platted streetcar suburbs up Connecticut Avenue. Those are also collections of very fine homes. But these particular country houses of the early 20th century elite in the DC area are in a class by themselves.
Thank you.
Any other questions for staff? If not, I would invite the representative, and I have one name here, Luz San Pedro. If you could introduce yourself, and I see that there are others here, and I'm sorry I don't have all your names, so if you would like to speak, and others would like to speak, if you all could introduce yourselves for the record, that would be good. And you will have 7 minutes for our presentation, or you can just answer questions, whatever you prefer.
Okay, yes, my name is Luz Maria San Pedro. I'm Gonzalo Duran's wife, and this is my son Esteban Duran. We live in Timberlawn. We're the owners of the property. And I have something to say here. So I said, good evening, members of the Historic Preservation Commission. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share a little about our state and what it has meant to us. But first of all, I want to thank John Lieberts. I don't see him here, but with whom we have been working for the last 2.5 years, and Serena Bollinger since last year. Thank you so much for your research efforts and enthusiasm. This house, built in 1901, has been a remarkable part of history, and we have had the privilege and honor of restoring it to its former glory. From the moment we stepped through the doors, we knew this house was special. We felt connected not only to its architectural beauty, but also to the many lives that had been lived within its walls. Each room seemed to hold stories of those who had come before us, and as we embarked on the journey of restoring the estate, our respect for those who called it home only deepened. Throughout the restoration process, we were mindful of preserving the integrity and craftsmanship of the house. Every detail, every corner holds a piece of history, and it was our goal to honor the original vision while breathing new life into this beautiful place. We felt like custodians, preserving the legacy of previous owners and tenants who cherish this house as much as we do. Living here has brought us immense happiness. It is more than just a home. It is a living connection to the past. Every day we're reminded of the time and care that went into building and maintaining it for over a century. We feel truly blessed to be part of its story and look forward to ensuring that future generations can experience the same sense of wonder and joy that we have. We hope you will consider this estate for historic preservation, as we believe it represents not only a significant piece of architectural history, but also the memories and lives of all who have cherished it. Thank you for your time and consideration. And we put together a video that contains images and video clips that are from public domain and found in the World Wide Web.
didn't have the opportunities that other mothers had. And so that's why she started Camp Shriver in our backyard, which then became Special Olympics. She would have 100 kids dropped off every morning, running around, learning how to swim, learning how to do archery, tennis, horseback riding.
By your presence, you send a message to every village, every city, every nation. A message of hope, a message of victory.
She was determined that our special friends would be able to be accepted, be respected.
Let me win. But if I cannot win, let me be brave the attempt.
Thank you.
You're
Are
welcome.
there any questions for Ms. San Pedro or any of her family? If not, I will open it to discussion. Anyone like to kick off here? I would like to kick off here. I actually met Eunice Shriver several years ago
Oh, really?
when I was superintendent at Manassas, and she came out with a whole busload of Kennedys, and I could tell right then that she was the one everybody went to. She was really a major force, and I think it's really wonderful that you're preserving this.
Thank you. Um,
No.
no, you
Anyone
wanna
else
say-
like to-
Anyone? Yeah. I can tell a little bit. We bought the house in 2012. It was full of molds and some areas were closed and it was really decaying. But my husband, being a restorer of antique cars, he paid very good detail on each thing and matching the colors of the wood. And well, we also took all the AC units from the windows that really looked very ugly. And we took all the radiators from each room, each bathroom that were leaking and sinking the floors. And we took all of those out. We put central AC, HVAC. And so it was an adventure. We loved doing that. Also, we restored completely the kitchen and each bathroom. There are 7 bathrooms and 6 rooms each with a bathroom and a shower and some bathtubs. And so, yeah, whoever wants to come and visit, just let us know.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I would welcome a motion.
This is Commissioner Burdett. I'd like to make a motion to recommend that the HPC recommend that Timberlawn be, excuse me with this, be listed on the locational atlas and index of historic sites and to the master plan for historic preservation, since it meets the designation criteria as provided by the staff. I think that's it. Yep.
Is there a second?
This is Commissioner Rado, I second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstain? Thank you so much. We look forward to moving this along very, very quickly. I think you've done a wonderful job, and we just applaud what you've done here, and are very anxious to work with you on this project. Thank you so much. And with that, unless there is anything that I have missed, which I don't believe I have,
No, Chair Sutton.
the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Chair Sutton, I'm sorry. Can you just make a note for the record that the preliminary consultations are being deferred to the November 12th hearing?
Yes,
Sorry.
yes, I will take.
13th, I'm sorry, November 13th.
Can I take back my gavel?
Sorry.
So I will make a note that there are 4 preliminary consultations that we did not hear tonight, that we will hear on November 13th. Also, we will look at the minutes from October 9th, and hopefully from tonight at that meeting as well. And I don't believe there are any commission items or staff items. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And I understand someone has a birthday? Yes?
My birthday.
Happy birthday, Zora.
Birthday.
Sorry we can't
Thank
celebrate
you.
it with you
Thank-
here.
Thanks,
But we will,
everyone.
okay, thank you so much. And with that, the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
See you next time. Thanks.